Good evening, folks, and welcome to another edition of the Sports Report. Gary Patterson is with me, and we've got a lot to talk about.
I'm sure we do.
We have got stuff.
Sure we do.
So I'm going to start right off with this question. Jonathan Papelbon.
Jonathan Papelbon.
Can we use him, and will we sign him?
I would say yes and yes.
Yes and yes?
In fact, yeah. And that I don't, I'm disappointed in the fact that I have to say yes to do we need him.
Yeah. Yeah.
But because he's hardly the ideal solution. But the reality is they do need him.
Yeah,
they need
they
somebody.
Sure do.
They need another
sure
arm.
do. Well, okay. We can use him and we could sign him. Holy cow.
But we're up against the Cubs, and as we tape, we may be finding out where he's going, actually.
That's right. That's exactly right. And the Cubs with the best, no, they get the best record in the National League? I think they do.
I believe they do.
Yeah. So they're really looking to solidify a pretty solid team.
Yeah, they are a World Series
they sure are.
contender. They really are.
They're knocking on the door.
They're a good team.
Yep.
It's interesting. They would be interested.
Yeah. And they're saying to themselves, well, of course, they know his background. They know him well.
Yeah. Theo and the boys.
And Theo's got a bunch of his guys with him from Boston, so they understand what they're getting.
Yeah, I still think we got the upper leg, though.
I do
if we want
too.
him, and I think
do
they've made it clear.
And I think he wants to come back to Boston.
Yeah.
I think he's got some to prove, Okay, since we're positive on that, Jimmy Vesey.
Jimmy Vesey, yeah. I feel better about the Bruins' chances than I have for several weeks.
Okay.
In now some of the things you're hearing now. But I still don't think he's coming here. I just think there's too much superior competition, mainly Chicago, and you're here in Pittsburgh now. So that's both of those organizations are.
If, as we talked earlier, if winning and going to a class organization are important to this young man who appears to have his head screwed on right, then Chicago is, they win this one hands down.
So we've got the hometown tug, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Right? We're a solid the Bruins are a solid organization.
Oh, yeah, and they're are an original six.
Yeah. And
Grizelnik, I can never pronounce his name, the former captain, with Vesey, they know each other well. And he's trying to convince him to come to the Bruins, and it looks like he might have a chance to be with the Bruins, too. Another undersized 5'9", 5'10" defenseman that can skate. I don't know. I don't think Vesey's going to come.
I don't think he is either. I'd be thrilled if he does. But.
The one thing that says to me the Bruins have a chance here, if this was a bag job, then Vesey would have been signed 10 minutes after midnight.
Right.
If he knew where he was going.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So I don't think he knows where he wants to go.
He wants to hear him
I think
out.
he's really and truly doing some due diligence here. Yeah.
So are they bringing in Tom Brady?
Tom's going to have some time on his hands pretty soon. Then, fine. All right. So that's two guys. How would Kevin Love fit on the Bruins? On the Celtics. Probably poor on the Bruins.
I think he would fit. I don't know. I was a big proponent of Kevin Love when he was in Minnesota. I mean, it was like, gosh, if you could ever get that guy. But at that time, you couldn't have gotten him, really.
That's right.
So at what price? I don't know.
I don't know. But with Horford is not I love Al Horford.
Oh, yeah. He's going to be a huge help.
But he's not the total answer.
Correct.
He needs another helper.
Right.
boy, I'll tell you, Love is an excellent rebounder.
The problem is Love. Is he that number one guy? And that's where I don't know. He's, I think, a number two guy as well as Horford's a
That's
number two guy.
exactly right.
And now you pick him and his salary up for multiple years. Are you blocking yourself from? I mean, this is the same old song and dance with rebuilding the Celtics, right?
But
you have to be there and prepared.
Yeah.
And I do think they're going to have the odd. They have the best odds right now of having the number one pick in the draft next year.
Yeah.
They really do. When you look at the Vegas odds, I think you had the over-unders on one of our previous broadcasts. They're right there for the number one pick. So whether they use the number one pick and have to wait another 5 years, or they are able to trade that number one pick for a legitimate.
You know, Love is injury prone.
Yeah.
As he ages, but who gets better as they age, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think the problem with him is health.
Yeah.
You know, he can score.
Yeah.
He scored certainly in Minnesota, 24, 25 a game.
And he can bang the boards.
He's a rebounder. He's not good defensively. He's slow defensively.
But I think that he would make a real good addition to this team.
Yeah, and Horford would cover for him on defense. Yes, Horford would cover the paint.
Do we? I was thinking very seriously about this. I would think the Red Sox have got some egg on their face with Fernando Abad. So I think they're going to be ashamed to release him. So I came up with a plan this afternoon.
Did you?
Yep. You know how sometimes people will take a basket full of kittens and put them in a box and bring them to a fire department or something like that and sneak them in front of one of the doors and run like hell?
Yeah.
What if we put him in a sack and put him in front of...
drop him off at precinct 12?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just then give them a call and say, there's something in the bag for you out front, guys.
He's had a rough go.
Would that work?
He certainly has had a rough go.
The other night when they brought him in to quell the mess that was going on that Matt Barnes left with two guys on, and Abad just, Heath Hembry sitting out there in the bullpen with his 2.37 earned run average. They brought him back up. I don't know why they ever sent him down. I know it was that stuff about the 40-man roster and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But he was dominant down at Pawtucket when he must have gone down there mad, because I'll tell you what, he pitched like 8 to 10 outings. He was murdering them.
Yeah. So, I was surprised when he went down too. He's been okay, considering what they have. I mean, if they had a dominant bullpen, fine.
I would have brought in Hembry. Never mind the right-handed, left-handed stuff. There's nothing dominating about Abad. Or where is Joe Kelly? Or is that a figment of my imagination?
I don't know. I mean, I would have thought he would have been up by now.
Yeah.
He was here. He's conceivably what they need in that 8th inning. Hard-throwing guy come in, looked like they were heading in that direction, and they sent him back down. So I don't know. That's an awfully good question. Where is he?
There's something wrong there.
Yeah.
I really think there's something wrong. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it could be.
Yeah.
But boy, they got no faith in the guy.
And I don't get it. I do get it, but it's.
But when you can throw 98,
considering your other options.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not, again, if you had a well-established bullpen, which they don't.
Yeah. In tatters.
How do you feel now when Tazawa comes in?
Oh
my gosh.
I reach for the rosary beads.
Right.
Yeah.
Now they're talking about Koji coming back.
Yeah, that'll be great, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can watch them. Maybe bones will just fall off them out there in the field or something. Yeah. Golly. All right, now let's talk about something really good.
Okay.
Marcus Mookie Betts.
Oh, Mr. MVP you're talking about.
Yeah. Is he something?
Amazing. Now we sit here today after he just hit 2 homers, 5 RBIs last night.
Yeah. And 3 the game before.
Right. And the amazing thing was in that game last night was when he's even got them psyched out on defense when the third base coach held the runner at third.
Yeah.
And he didn't make a good throw.
That was a bleeder that came in, but
he's even intimidating the Orioles with his defense.
I'll tell you what. I don't think he's going to see too many down and in fastballs from this point on.
His numbers against the Orioles this year are just ridiculous.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's a friendly left field fence out there, too.
It is very friendly, yeah. Yeah.
You can't say enough good things about him.
No, you can't.
I mean,
he's such a good kid.
He came up as a second baseman.
Right.
They put him in center field last year.
Right.
Well, was he Gold Glove material in center field? Damn close to it.
Right.
Yeah.
Into the discussion. Yeah.
They put him in right field, and it's just seamless. He just goes on and on.
Yeah, he's had a couple of hiccups
That was quite a catch he made last night, too, the slipping and sliding.
Yeah.
Oh, look what I have, mother.
Yeah.
Gee whiz, what an athlete, though. And a terrific kid.
Yeah, he's growing quickly into a franchise player.
I'll tell you
I'm
what.
sitting here today looking forward right now.
Yeah, I know, for 7 o'clock.
Him or Trout.
Well, now.
If you had your choice of either one, which one would you take, thinking about the next 5 years?
Mookie.
I think I'd take Mookie, too.
Yeah. I'll tell you. We'll get to Trout in a bit.
Yeah.
I have an interesting statistic about him. I got a whole bunch of interesting things.
Okay,
and
fire away.
They don't run together worth a damn.
That's okay.
Brad Ziegler is 36 years old and will be a free agent at the end of the season. How aggressive will the Red Sox be in trying to re-sign him? Now, supposedly, there's a story out that he has said, well, I'm going back to Arizona.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Maybe his family's out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, going back to Arizona to get my family to relocate them someplace else? Yeah. Is that the rest of the sentence? Or is this also some guy that lives in his mother's cellar that thinks he's a sports reporter and puts crap out on the internet that isn't worth a damn?
You know, at the end of the day, it's going to come down to the almighty dollar. I mean,
M-O-N-E-Y.
Yeah.
Now, Ziegler, making 5.5.
Yeah.
So,
I'd probably take at least 2 and 12 to 14. He's going to want 3 probably.
But he's 36.
Right.
So if you say to him,
I'd be hesitant on this.
Yeah, 2 years, 12 mil.
Yeah, it might not get it done.
Might not get it done, but the guy has a rubber arm, but he's not overpowering.
Right. Relies on his stuff.
Yeah, relies.
His ball moves. I mean, it certainly moves.
And he's been doing this now for 10 or 12 years.
Right.
I mean, it's not like he invented this pitch last
Right.
week.
Not a power pitcher, so. But still.
I'll tell you what, if I were the Red Sox, I'd be aggressive and go after him. I'd offer him, I'd say to him, what's it going to take, Brad? And if he comes back and says, I want 3 7s at 21 mil, then I'm going to say, enjoy your time back out in Arizona.
Yeah, I think it's.
Yeah, but
it's probably going to take 3 years.
Yeah, but 2 and 6. I think I'd bite at that
2 and 6. I think they'd do it.
Yeah.
I think the Sox would do that.
6 mil a year for 2 years. I'd do that.
Yeah, I mean,
he's getting 5.5 now.
Yeah, as they look at the bullpen for next year.
Yeah. And by the way, if you look at some of the prices on some of the bullpen pitchers around the league.
It's up on everything.
Although, how about what's his face down in Baltimore? The closer.
Not Prague.
No.
That escapes me.
Yeah. Well, we had a kid with the same last name. I've got something else on him in here. I'll find it. He's only getting 7.5, and he's 35 for 35 in saves this year. So
yeah. It depends what you want to do, right?
Jim Rice's comments on Andrew Benintendi and how his batting stance resembles Yaz. With that held high, straight up in the air.
Yeah, I don't really see it myself.
Oh, you don't?
No, do you?
All right, yeah. As a young player, that's how Yaz
I remember Yaz
carried
very well.
his bat up there.
Yeah.
Now, I'll say one thing about
Benintendi's more bent over.
I'll say this much about Benintendi. He should tell the batting coach to stay away. He's got a beautiful swing.
Yeah, he looks like a natural.
Yep. I think
so I'd like to see him. I'd like to see him in the leadoff spot.
Yes, that's exactly right. You're reading my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a spot for this kid.
Yeah, I think so.
He's got speed. He's intelligent.
He'll work some walks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he can run.
He can run. David Price's odyssey continues.
Yeah.
What the devil are we to... And you and I kicked this around before, but we never... I don't think we've concluded anything, and the saga continues.
Right.
Mediocre is probably too strong a word, but...
No, mediocre I think is the word, actually.
Yeah, it is.
I would agree. This year he has been mediocre.
Yeah.
And nowhere near the pitcher that we expected him to be. So you've got him for 6 more years.
Yeah.
You know, the question is, what, you know, are you giving up on the guy in terms of the length of his contract? I don't think so. I don't think so.
You know, a lot of pitchers, the year they're traded, the next year, they do not overperform.
Yeah, it's happened to a lot.
You know, there's change of lifestyle, there's change of your home, there's
look
new
at Rick
team.
Porcello, right?
Yeah.
Porcello last year versus this year.
Perfect example.
He might win the Cy Young this year.
I'm all for it.
I'll tell you. He's a legitimate Cy Young candidate. So, Price, you know.
You stay with it for the long.
Well, you have no choice.
You got no choice.
What the heck are you going to do unless you want to eat?
You know,
$50 or $60 million.
Supposing he bounced back, and come the trading deadline next year, maybe you could move him or something. But that's. But why would you want to if he bounces back and you're in the heat of things too? You know.
Yeah. Well, I want him to be the number 2 starter next year.
That's fine.
Yeah.
And you know what? That would take a bunch of pressure off him. Is he one of these guys, like Dave Wallace said, you don't know what you got until he gets on the mound at Fenway Park.
Yeah.
Because some guys can pitch out there, and there's other guys that cannot pitch out there.
Right.
I think the jury's still out on that.
Yeah. And there were some warning signs on that before they signed him. Right?
Yes, there were. His
postseason performances.
And his fastball was deteriorating. Right. Now, it's bounced back, I think, a fair amount this year.
He has from April. Yeah.
Craig Kimbrell and the perils of Pauline approach he brings to relieving.
Yeah.
You know, if I were back on the booze, I'll tell you, I'd keep it handy when that lad was coming in.
He throws a lot of pitches.
A lot of
pitches. You know,
and
1, 2, 3 last night, dominant.
Yep. But I guess it was X said last night about one of the relievers.
Robbie Ross.
No, was it? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. He's just chucking it in there. He's got no idea where it's going.
And on the next pitch, he set up outside and it came inside.
That's right. But then he struck him out, though, on a beautiful pitch.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. He got him.
Of course, that's not the biggest challenging in the world, striking out that lad.
Yeah.
He's dangerous. He can lose the ball on you. Boy, does he strike out. Jeepers. You know, I think I'd feel shortchanged if I were Baltimore and looked at what I'm paying him and Chris Davis and look what he's done.
He's having a tough year.
He sure is.
Hit some homers, but hitting under 220.
Yeah.
You know, he gets on base because he does walk a lot.
Yep. And he's not a bad defensive outfielder. I mean, he's
first
baseman. Yeah, I'm sorry.
He's okay. He's solid. He's another one though. You know, you just look at him and see injuries. Right? He's getting into his late 30s, playing every day.
Yep.
He could end up a DH. And now you're paying
big
DH
I'm
money.
glad you said playing every day. We're going to get to that, too.
Yeah.
Sandy Leone splitting time with Holiday. Would you explain to me why that is? I mean, Holiday can't hit his weight.
Yeah.
He never has.
I don't understand the fascination with Holiday.
No.
really
I don't understand it. Danny Butler is down to Pawtucket, and he is a major league defensively, a major league catcher.
I'd rather see Vasquez over this kid.
Yeah, well, 'cause I think they're teaching Vasquez a lesson.
I guess so.
You know, I get the impression that Vasquez probably get talked to about throwing the ball to all the bases wildly.
Yeah.
And like the time chucked it down the right field line, and
Yeah.
and I think they're trying to say to him,
He's got a great skill set.
calm down. That's right.
Great skill
Yep.
set.
But Sandy Leon, what if he continues?
Well, I mean, he plays when he hits. I mean, because he's fine defensively. He's got a good arm.
He's excellent defensively.
You know.
Do you, at that point in time, trade Vasquez?
Well,
Because
if you can, you know.
I think you can get something for him.
I think you can too.
Yeah. More
And
so than Sandy Leon.
You know, and that's when I talk about the off season, you know, and looking for a number one starter and another probably 2 bullpen arms. And that's on the assumption that Carson Smith will come back.
Yeah, but they don't come back that well that first year from
Right. So
Tommy
you're going to
John.
need to get a couple. But
Yep.
the catching is one of the assets, you know. Because ideally, of course, you'd love to figure out how to do that without trading any of the Bs.
Yeah, I'd like to keep everything. You
Yeah.
know? The only reason I can think of is the unbelievably hot weather that we've had, and that Farrell just says, I can't put Leon out there 7 days a week.
Yeah, I think that's true. And, you know,
I've-
playing in Baltimore for a couple of days. This
Ooh.
week is a tough week, right? They played three games in 3 different cities.
Baltimore
And
is
to their
a
credit,
hot
they
place.
won them all. 3 straight
Yeah.
days, stopping in Cleveland. Baltimore's a brutal place, as you
Rick
know, in the summer.
Porcello, Cy Young. Did you?
Yeah.
You know, you and I were pretty pessimistic at the beginning of the year about Rick Porcello.
Right. We did, however, talk about the fact that, you know, he's another one that over his course of his contract, you know, he was going to have a good year in there somewhere.
right.
And I guess this is it.
Yep. You know,
So do you try to move him at his peak? You know,
boy, I'd like to keep him. He's only 27, I think.
yeah, maybe
27, maybe 28.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd like to see a couple more years.
I'd like to keep him, but
Yeah.
I'd also like to get a number 1 starter for next year.
Gee, what more does Porcello have to do to be called a number one?
Yeah. But I feel much better if he's your 3rd starter. If you've got either Chris Sale or the Tahan, one of those young bucks, and Price, 2-1, 2-1, 1-2, whatever you want to call
Yep.
them. And then you've got Porcello as your number 3 starter.
Yeah.
You've got a pretty good staff brewing there.
Um,
And then you've got Eduardo and Pomeranz in the back as your 4
how about
5.
Stephen Wright?
And you got Stephen Wright kicking around.
Yeah, kicking around 13-5,
Yeah.
3.01 earned run average.
Yeah.
They're batting .227 against him.
Right.
He hadn't run the bases in a game since 2004.
Yeah.
That was the perfect choice for Farrell
Yeah.
to make to put him out there.
I didn't understand at the time because he looks like he should be playing in the after work beer softball league out on the bases. Right?
I'm telling you, either that or down at Patriot Stadium as a linebacker.
And the guy they should have had out there was Buckholz.
That's exact.
Buckholz
Well,
could fly.
Buckholz or Pomeranz, either
Right.
one.
Buckholz had one thing he has for years. They said he was the fastest guy on the team.
Well, supposedly, he had.
Because you know that's a lost art. As you were
Yeah.
pitchers pinch running.
Yeah.
25, 30 years ago, the off day pitchers pinch ran all the time.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. My son was telling me that he heard that Buckholz had a race against JBJ and beat him.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked by that.
Yeah.
That's always been the word with Buckholz.
He can fly.
They did, I think it was 4 or 5 years ago, they did it at spring training where
Yeah.
they had these runs, and he won.
Yeah. And he also was a track athlete in Texas and a
He was
football
He
player.
was a terrific athlete.
Yeah.
Terrific athlete coming up.
But I have him mentioned later on. And
Yeah. The sad case of Clay Buckholz
yeah.
would be the book.
No wonder this show is the #1 rated sports show in the New England, because Hanley must have seen it, and he saw you saying, "Hanley, where's the power?"
Right.
He heard it,
hitting
and
home
he
runs.
started hitting home runs. Not only hitting them, but savagely hitting them.
Right.
And what a time for him to have a death in the family.
Yeah. It's,
When he was hotter than a
yeah.
10-cent pistol.
Hopefully
Jeepers
he
creepers.
doesn't get lost down there.
And I hope John Farrell listens to what we have to say later on.
Yes.
Mysteries.
Oh,
I
mysteries.
enjoy mysteries.
Yeah, nothing like a good mystery.
Travis Shaw looks lost out there. He
Yeah.
looks like something from the movie Lost in Space. He's out of sync. What's going on? Now, I know he had a wrist problem earlier in the year, and he wanted to play his way through it. There's no magic potion to it. He's not going to make it any worse. But is this another one of these where they have to take that, was it Hesimoid, whatever the hell it is, bone out of there?
Yeah, I don't know. It's unclear.
Yeah.
Whether he has.
I mean,
any
he's a
issue
tough
there.
kid to be, if that's the case, to be playing through it.
Yeah.
But if that is not the case, and he is 100%, he's swinging out there like old Aunt Martha.
Yeah, almost like somebody that's hit the wall.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, like
Played a lot more than he thought he might early.
yeah. Now, is this a case, and I'm going to get to this later, that I don't think Farrell's given the guys time off. I think some of them are exhausted out there, and certainly Xander was. Xander had to ask for a day off,
Yeah.
which is ridiculous. His
Yeah.
bat speed slowed down, and Farrell can't see this with all the crap they have recording these swings and all that.
Yeah. Well, he's got to lean a little bit on Chili Davis there, too.
I think so, too. I think you're right.
And I don't know whether he does lean on Chili Davis or not.
Boy, I'll tell you, Mookie leans on him. He is over with
Yeah.
him after every at-bat.
Right.
I wish Travis Shaw was doing that.
Well, you wonder about Shaw.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if he's just kind of hitting the wall. He's
Defensively, he's had a couple of errors, but
adequate.
he's at least adequate, and he's got a good arm.
Yeah.
And I think he's more than adequate at first base.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's where he belongs. Zach,
He needs to finish strong and be part of the package.
he sure
for the
does.
#1 pitcher.
He sure does. Well, that's fine too.
Yeah.
Zach Greinke, 1 2/3 innings, 10 hits, 9 runs, no walks, and 3 strikeouts. He hasn't been handled like that since Little League.
Yeah, I missed that. I didn't see that. I got late to that game, and I turned it on, and it was like, what the heck happened?
Yeah.
Because I knew Greinke was pitching, and he was gone.
I mean, they just knocked it.
Yeah, he was a bad signing, too, honestly. I mean, he's going to end up probably being a worse signing than David Price.
Do you mean $31.75 million per year?
Right.
Wow.
For a while.
And he's 32?
Yeah. I think he's in his 30s for sure.
Yeah, I forgot to bring my satchel with all my books in there that tell the ages and all that stuff.
But he will probably end up, and you heard it here first, he'll probably end up being a worse signing than David Price.
I think you might be right.
Yeah.
I think you might be right, because I mean that's
was
not
the
a
two of
good.
them,
That's
right?
not a good ball club, Arizona.
No.
And he's been mercurial in the past. He's probably going to get fed up with this pretty soon. And
Yeah, the only thing is I've been to a lot of games out in Arizona, and they just you can't compare it to any place on the East Coast.
Yeah.
It's different.
I do.
To them, it's like going to the mall. I remember sitting in Arizona with a good friend of mine who's a huge baseball fan from out there. Loves coming to Boston, goes to minor league baseball all over the place. But sitting with him out in Arizona, and he was like, "This is an embarrassment to us." He says, "Look around at this crowd, and the game's going on. They're all chatting. Maybe 20% of them are actually watching the games." And he said to me, "When I come to Boston and I go to Fenway, that's the first thing I noticed was everybody is watching the game.
Yeah.
They're not there gabbing it up and yeah." He said they're into it. They're watching the game, and he says, "Look at this place." And the times I was there, it was so true. Half of them, if you just caught them and said, "What's the score in the game?" they'd have no idea.
Patrick and I went out for breakfast a couple of weeks ago on a Saturday. And there's 3 young people came in, young people, 20s, sat at the table beside us, 2 girls and a guy. All 3 of them pulled out
The phones, yeah.
the phones, and all 3 of them sat there texting.
Yeah.
I don't think the 3 of them spoke except to the waitress.
Maybe they were texting each other.
Could be. Who knows?
Yeah.
The strange ending to Alex Rodriguez's career.
Yeah. Well, you know, from what I hear, it was really all about Hal Steinbrenner, right? Hal Steinbrenner and A-Rod have had a massive falling out. Steinbrenner thought it appropriate that they should be able to settle, and A-Rod and his people told him to go pound sand. We're not settling anything. And he had was it another $20 million bonus when he got to 700 home runs?
I think so, yeah.
I think he had another $20 million bonus if he hit number 700 in the Yankees uniform.
Yeah.
And the word came down from Hal Steinbrenner, he will not
ain't
hit number
gonna
700
happen.
as a Yankee.
Well, now that's interesting because Hal Steinbrenner went out of his way to put out the word that,
Yeah,
I'm so proud of him, he'll always be a Yankee, and da-da-da-da-da.
That's all mumbo
That's
jumbo.
all, you're right.
Yeah.
It's all political speak.
Right.
But I thought that it was a poor way to
And he's
end
going
his
to be an
career.
advisor to the Yankees. What do you think he's going to do? You think you're going to ever see him in the Bronx?
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
he'll show up for a couple of photographs at spring training
Yeah,
this year.
or if one of his buddies retires, he may come and
Yeah.
or something. Zach Britton is the reliever for Baltimore.
Zach Britton, yes.
35 saves in 35 attempts,
Yeah, he's good.
and he's getting $7.5 million a year, and has a earned run average of 0.50.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
It sure is. Think he'll be in for a raise?
Yeah, I mean, where is his contract up?
I don't know. And the one thing, the thing I have just shows what they're getting this year.
Yeah, be tough to pry him
Well,
away.
here you go. Here's what you've been waiting for. The Danny Duffy report.
The Danny Duffy report.
He is now 10-1 with a 2.73 earned run average.
Really?
Yeah. His time in the pen obviously worked out for him, and now that he's a starter, he is just eating the league up.
Huh.
But, yeah, 10-1.
That's impressive.
Mighty impressive. Now, speaking of things that aren't impressive,
Okay, there's a list of those too.
I got a couple of them that,
Yeah.
and I've touched on this one before. Dave O'Brien is driving me
Driving you
nuts.
crazy.
Yes.
Yeah.
The road trip of the century. How many times did he mention that? I mean, you'd think, for God's
Yeah.
sakes, that he was part of the D-Day landing at Normandy Beach. The horror of the upcoming trip.
Yeah.
Yeah, traveling first class, charter flights, eating great meals on board.
Staying at
staying
top-notch
top-notch hotels.
Yeah.
And this is a horrible life.
Yeah.
The heat. Oh, the heat. How many times did he mention the heat? But the night that the wind blew, he
Yeah.
must have mentioned that 40 times.
Yeah, he does have a tendency to be redundant.
The
on-
needle gets stuck.
Yeah,
Yeah.
over and over.
They're going to be gone for a long time. 11 games in 11 days in 4 different cities. They're playing a child's game
Yeah.
and getting paid millions of dollars to do it. Good Lord.
Yeah, on charter flights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other one, too, he must have described Paul Goldschmidt as one of the best hitters in the National League at least 50 times over the weekend when Arizona was in.
Yeah.
He's a good ball
Over
player.
and-
There's no
he
doubt
is a
about
good
it.
ball player, and there's no
But-
question.
But I think that, lighten up a little
Yeah.
bit,
Yeah.
And then
Goldschmidt
to
Fenway
top
would be interesting.
everything else off, last night, Some dirty rat at USA wrote about the awful road trip the Red Sox had. And it just set him off all over again. He's quoting this guy in the article. And, it's national. Everybody knows the Red Sox are having a terrible time here on this trip and blah, 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 blah. And nobody can understand why they're being forced to play these days.
Yeah.
And I'm saying to myself, oh, please. I've got to find either the booze or a gun. I'm going to shoot the TV out. Oh, God almighty.
Yeah.
I have another question.
Big fan, no doubt.
What are the Red Sox and Nesson trying to do to Jerry Rummy?
I think they'd ease him out if Eckersley would agree to do more games, but I don't think Eckersley's going to agree to do more games.
I'll tell you what, I would love to see Steve Lyons agree to do less games.
Yeah, I would too.
Like maybe one game a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, that midnight game from Nome, Alaska.
Do the post-game show.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
And if they're looking for talent to put up there, put Garen Austin up there. At least she's good looking.
I mean, Eck's the best, but he's not going to do 162. No way.
No.
No way.
Unless somebody
I don't know.
finds a lot of bread for him.
Yeah. I think his lifestyle's more important to him than the extra bread. Yeah.
Well, all right. What's on the next page? Does the team adopt the makeup of a manager? With Earl Weaver, you'd expect a bunch of fiery, tough competitors, sound baseball players, toughen out wins, yet also gamblers, playing for the big innings, swashbucklers, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, if that's the case, what would the Red Sox do to sort of match up to John Farrell in his approach to the game?
They'd give long-winded BS answers to the press.
He's poor at resting players.
Yeah.
And he said in spring training, we can't wear Tozawa and Koji out. They are going to be rested. Koji's going to go 1 out of every 3 games max.
Yeah.
Well, what do you do? He put Koji out there 3 games in a row, for God's sakes. And he started up Tozawa doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And Tozawa had to go on the DL.
I
mean, he's got poor judgment.
He does seem to, and you mentioned resting players earlier. That's certainly questionable.
Yeah. I don't get it. I just don't get it. And what's he leaving Shaw out there for? Does he want to see him just collapse out there? Or?
Right.
God. All right.
Despite it all, they're right there for the playoffs.
Aren't they ever? Robinson Cano.
Yeah.
Supposedly, Seattle wants to dump him.
Wants to move him?
Yeah.
Really?
The ownership out there is too much money for him.
Right.
Yeah. So, would he fit with the Red Sox?
I don't think so.
No?
No, I think you've got Pedroia to be followed by Moncada at second, and
I think Moncada's going to end up over on third.
I think if you're going to spend that kind of money, it needs to be on pitching.
Really? Okay.
Great player. I love Robinson.
Yeah. And the Robinson Cano he also seems to have a thing about the Red Sox.
You're going to have to trade for him.
That's exactly right.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have to pay him.
If they're
motivated, he's making a lot of money.
Yeah. And I've got that in the list here of what I think he's on another piece.
I think that money needs to go to the pitching staff.
And I have an update on another one of my key players that I really wanted the Red Sox to sign and never wanted them to get rid of him, and that's my boy Brandon Moss.
Yeah.
20 home runs, batting .258, good defensively, and I think he's getting like 8 1/4 or something like that.
So at this point in time, what would you do with him?
Oh, I think he would be 4th outfielder, backup first baseman kind of guy, pinch hitter kind of guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I really like him. And let's face it, Bryce Brentz, Chris Young.
Who's coming back?
Who's coming back?
He's down in Pawtucket.
Yeah, but he's not progressing quite as quickly as they wanted. I think he had to have an extra night off down there.
Did he?
Yeah.
This hamstring's going to be brutal. Yeah.
They can indeed.
Yeah.
In fact, Giancarlo Stanton's out for the season.
Is he?
Yeah. Groin pull, deep groin pull.
Wow. That's a big loss.
It is. It is. And he's had a lousy year for them.
Yeah.
So, with that in mind, paychecks. Too much, just right, or too little?
Yeah.
Brad Ziegler, $5.5 million.
That's about right for
Okay.
where he is in the bullpen.
Okay. Zach Greinke, 31.8.
Yeah, you already know. I've already opined on that. Way
Yep.
too high.
Too much. Paul Goldschmidt, 5.8.
Not enough.
Yeah, you're right. Too little.
He's going to be looking for more.
Here's another guy I've always liked. He's always been in the National League, but I've always liked him, and that's Jason Grilli. 3.6.
Not enough.
Not enough is right. And he's having a good year.
Yeah.
You know, he's one of these guys, one inning, that's all.
Yep.
Nothing more than that.
We could certainly use him.
Taylor Clippard, who's bounced to 3 teams, I think, so far this year, 6.1 mil.
Wow. Too much.
I think that's a little high, yeah. Joey Votto, 20 mil.
Too much.
Okay, I
Good
said
player, but
that's what Cincinnati is saying too much.
yeah.
And they've tried to move him and found no takers. Well, Votto is hitting 303,
Yeah.
20 home runs,
Yeah.
and he's got 77 or 67 RBIs. He's all right around the bag.
He's okay. He's a good player.
Yeah,
I don't think he's a great player.
you're right.
Yeah.
He's that difference between great and good.
Yeah.
He's getting great money, and he's only a good player.
Right.
Yeah. Brandon.
It's like Hanley. He's like Hanley.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Hanley is.
He's okay.
Hanley
He's a good player.
he's got to get down on his
But
knees
overpaid.
every night
Yeah.
and thank God for foolish owners.
Yeah.
Brandon Moss, 8.25 a mil. I think that's about right.
That's about right.
Yeah.
Probably in what market?
Danny Duffy, 4.2 mil.
Wow. After what we heard earlier.
Yeah.
It sounds like a bargain.
Evan Longoria is having a good year.
Yeah.
12.6 mil.
Good year. Nobody's noticing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
for his status
set.
as a player,
Yeah.
that's low
It is low.
in today's
Yeah,
market.
it is. And I think Longoria also could be more productive with a better team.
Yeah.
Now, get somebody
I'm
that gets
surprised
on
he
base
doesn't
in front
run out
of
of
him.
there.
He's an excellent fielder, and he's a good guy.
Yeah.
Gave them the hometown discount, although I think, if memory serves me, this contract may be backloaded. This
Could be.
thing may get up at 12, go to 12 to 16 to 18 or something like that.
Yeah.
J.A. Happ, being mentioned for Cy Young, 10 mil.
It's probably about right.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Let's see Happ do this again next year.
Yeah. I mean, that's, Marcelo's making 20.
Edwin Encarnacion, 10 mil. He's got 33 home runs. He's batting 270 something, and he's got a ton of RBIs.
Right. Probably not enough.
I
Certainly
think-
in his mind, not enough.
Yeah, that's low.
And again, I use Hanley as some kind of benchmark. And
He's
say,
better. He's better hitter than Henry.
Yeah.
The thing is, there's something. I wish I'd brought my book, but I think Encarnacion is like 31 or 2.
At
3.
least.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah, he's getting a little long in the tooth. Jason Kipnis. Yes, he's going to be the steal of the year, 6.1 million.
Yeah, that's a
19
good
home
value.
runs,
Yeah.
and
good value.
but here is the official steal of the year. Mike Napoli, 29 home runs,
Yeah.
7 mil.
7 mil?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a good deal, I guess, in today's
one
market.
year.
But gosh, who knew?
What
Who
do you
knew?
what do you think he'll get next year?
I don't know. I mean, do people really
They're not
believe
going to
in
give
him?
him. They're not
How
going to give.
old is Napoli now? Do you know?
Probably 34, 35.
Yeah.
You know, he's not going to get a 3-year deal. I
No,
don't
I don't
think,
think
unless
so
somebody
either.
goes nuts. But somebody paid Hanley, didn't they?
Right.
Yeah, us.
But he could get maybe 2 and 25. I don't know.
I think that's the ballpark. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, how would you like to be the guy that signs the checks down to Texas, the Rangers? Josh Hamilton, 24 mil.
Wow, unbelievable.
Prince Fielder, 24 mil. Shin Soo Choo, or whatever the hell his name is.
Yeah.
20 mil.
He makes 20 mil.
20 mil.
Wow.
He is at best ordinary.
Yeah, at best ordinary. Yeah.
Cole Hamels, 22 and a half. All right, if you're in first place and you get Cole Hamels,
Yeah.
he's worth 22 and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're a scrub like the Pittsburgh Pirates, no way, hell.
Yeah. Right.
But
Right.
he's having a good year.
But that's about right. Yeah.
Brian Holiday for the Red Sox, I couldn't find him, is he evidently wasn't on the 40-man roster at the beginning of the year with Detroit. But I find that hard to believe because he had been up there for 3 or 4 years. But he wasn't listed anyway. How would you like to be paying Jonas Cespedes $27.3 million?
27.3.
Yeah.
Is that what he got?
He's got 22 home runs and he's batting
again, he's
280
okay.
something.
You know.
But he's a little bit of an adventure in the field, and
27, I think, is way too
way too much.
He's 15.
And here's a beauty. Bartolo Colon,
Yeah.
7 1/4. He's got a 10-7 record. His earned run average is in the threes.
He just goes on and on.
Yeah,
He just
and
goes on.
someplace
and
on
on. He
another
got his
piece of
first
paper.
walk
Yeah,
as a batter.
someplace on
200
another piece of
something.
paper. He's got something along the idea of 25 walks and 95 strikeouts.
Yeah.
I mean, he still is
He's still okay.
Yeah.
I mean, they're paying him 7?
7.
Yeah. Wow.
Gosh. Okay. Michael Silverman had an article in the Sun Herald. Plenty of blame to go around. Now, of course, now with the Red Sox winning, it'll be what a wonderful team they are, and everything will be lollipops and ice cream.
Yeah.
But he had a lot of bitching. So, number one problem, Dave Dombrowski. Bad deals.
Really?
Yeah, wasn't happy with the deals. Not happy with Pomeranz either.
Yeah. Well, the Pomeranz deal has the potential to come back and bite him.
Or it has the potential to be a pretty damn good deal.
Yes, it does. It does. And I just don't think we're going to know.
Could be
for a
either
couple
here
of years.
or there. I'm not sure there's a lot of in between with that deal. But Pomeranz pitched a good game the other night.
Yeah. But, to me, he's a back-end starter. And, again, my own personal push is that win, lose, or draw, we need to get a top-of-the-rotation pitcher. And that kid that we traded for Pomeranz would have been
17 years old. Or
would have been
18 years old.
could have been one of the cornerstones.
Espinosa.
Espinosa.
I mean,
could have been
we
one
got-
of the cornerstones
The
of that
problem
trade.
with that is we got four years to wait for him to get up here.
Right. But he is highly rated.
Yep.
So, with trying to not trade any of the killer bees or Moncada, you need somebody like that in one of the catchers maybe, and maybe even
some
Eddie
other
Rodriguez.
stuff. Yeah.
For somebody.
He's also very pissed off at Dave. Very annoyed with David Price.
Yeah.
Big disappointment.
Big disappointment, yeah. Hey, look, I'm not sure. I believe the team record in the starts is 11-13. That's terrible for your ace of the pitcher. If they were just 11-13, that's 24. If they were 15-9 in their starts, which is
guess what?
Isn't a big number for a number one
they'd
start.
be up 3 or 4
They'd be up
games.
3 games or so. Yeah.
He also, we talked about David Price. We're all disappointed, but if you ask David Price, he's honest enough to tell you, I'm disappointed in me too. I'm lousy.
No, I agree. He is.
He's a
But
man about it.
He is a man about it.
John Farrell. Oh, he's all upset about John Farrell. Clay Buchholz. And I don't understand beating up on Buchholz so much.
When are you gonna? He is what he is. Haven't we figured it out yet?
That's it. He is what he is. The club should have dumped him.
Right.
Yeah. So why are you going to beat up on Buckles? That's like going over and kicking the dog, you know? The dog doesn't know any better.
Yeah.
I mean, you should have taken him to the vet if there's a problem with him.
And in fairness to them, I don't think they were relying on Buckholz coming into the year.
No, they weren't. No.
They knew.
Yeah.
Right?
Drew Pomeranz. Well, you know, he's not showing us a lot, and blah, blah, blah. I don't know, I thought he pitched very well the other day. And then he was also annoyed with Koji Uehara. But then he sort of, he soft-soaped it a little bit. Well, he's an old man, and the Red Sox shouldn't have been counting on him at his age. But I thought that he was way off
Carson
base.
Smith's injury really reared up and bit them there.
Did it ever?
Yeah.
I like this too. Sox exhaust all excuses. That was only a few days ago.
Yeah.
Now it's going to be the Sox are yo-wee, go.
Nothing like a winning streak.
Patrick Waugh quit as the coach of the Colorado Avalanche the other day.
Oh, he did? I didn't even catch that.
Oh, he was upset.
He was upset?
Yeah. He said the coach and the vice president of hockey operations must be in total agreement with one another for this to work.
Okay.
And he said this is not the case. And then he also said that upper management must listen to the coach and understand what the coach is going through and work with the coach to work things out. And he said, that's not happening, so I quit.
Huh.
And Joe Sakic said, I don't know, I talk to him every day. I don't know what more I could have done.
Really?
Yeah, so this is Waugh being Waugh, I think.
I guess so.
Yeah.
But
another interesting thing in the paper, real quick. According to Jeff Howe, Brian Stork is too tough, too combative, and maybe playing himself out of the starting center job in favor of David Andrews, who contains himself.
Yeah. Stork is,
got into the headbutt. He got into the headbutt stuff again yesterday, and they had to throw him off the field. But you know, when the opening whistle blows, those are the guys that
I was going to say,
Belichick likes out there.
It's the NFL pit. I mean, you got to be half crazy to begin. It helps to be half crazy to go.
Did he ever go out there and tell Mankins, no, listen, back it off, big guy. You know, come on, you're hurting those other guys.
Yeah. Now, Stork, you know, he's a hothead.
That's right.
You know, I mean, they said he threw a punch at somebody in the spring drills.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So.
And he went at it with the
Bill doesn't tolerate that.
No, he thinks that's stupid.
Right.
Listen, you can kill people, and it's not going to bother him as long as you don't get the flag.
Right.
But if you get the flag, then it's a problem. Yeah. Very interesting story in the paper. We can talk about it next time, maybe when we do our football show next time. But this guy, Tooney, that they drafted.
They love him, I guess.
Oh, jeepers, do they ever. And this guy is a smart guy.
Yeah, that's what I understand.
Yeah, double majors.
He's inhaling the playbook.
Yeah, inhaling the playbook.
Yeah.
And boy, they really think that they've got something with this guy.
Yeah.
You know, when you find guys with character, first of all, you got to be intelligent to play any sport, I think.
It helps.
But,
it certainly helps.
It certainly does. But when you find something like that, boy. Now listen, I got to ask you, Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think he's going to be okay.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be good enough. I'm a 3-1 guy. I think they're going to lose opening night and then win the 3 games at home. So.
I think they're also going to put a pretty conservative game plan together for him. I don't think he's going to get a chance to do any wild and wacky things.
No, I don't either. And assuming Gronk is healthy and ready to go, which I think he will be.
That huge,
And you've got Bennett on the other side. That's for a kid like that. That's perfect. Having those two tight ends.
That huge sigh you heard today was when the Patriots announced it's just a bruise.
Okay, good.
So
I hadn't heard that.
Nothing serious, and there'll be treatment, and he'll be fine.
Oh, okay, good.
So that was that big sigh you heard.
We won't see him again until Sunday night, opening night.
That's exactly right.
Right.
He'll put him in mothballs for a while. I think Garoppolo, if he gets a chance to do anything spectacular, it'll be some scrambling where he's mobile around the pocket and maybe picks up 20 or 25 yards on a scamper or something like that.
Yeah, he could do that.
But otherwise, I think he'll stick pretty much to the playbook.
Yeah, I do too, and I think he's a smart kid. I think he's under control.
I heard an interview with him the other day on the radio. He's a smart kid.
Yeah.
There's no question about that.
Yeah. So as long as his pieces are there. And one thing I worry about is the early progression of the offensive line. Are they going to be ready to go on week 1?
I think Skaneckier will make sure they're ready to go.
Another year, sometimes it's taken a little while to kind of get that foundation built and get them.
Well, it depends on the
clicking.
2 tackles, too.
But they're coming out opening night against the Hornets' Nest. They're coming,
I still worry about having Cannon out there.
Yeah.
Boy, he doesn't send chills up and down my spine.
I'm not sure he's going to make the team.
That's a very pleasant thought.
Yeah.
It's not my favorite guy, I'll tell you. Malcolm Mitchell got that dislocated elbow. Thank goodness that's all that was.
Yeah.
But he really looked.
He looked good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're very happy with him over there.
Apparently they are.
Yeah, when Belichick starts saying, he's quite a competitor, and he's a good kid and a smart kid.
I was going to say, he's another, you talk about smart athletes,
yes.
He's another one.
Yep.
Yeah, hopefully he can stay in the field.
Speaking of smart athletes, then there's always the other side of that coin.
Yes.
Brock Vereen played well. There's an outside chance he could make the team.
Outside chance.
Yeah, but he was doing well. He impressed a few guys.
But apparently he didn't think he could make the team.
No, well, he missed a practice. That was what happened.
Oh, really?
Yeah, never called in.
Yeah.
And so when he came in the next day, they said, "You're retired."
Yeah.
So he put in his papers. Then he unretired, so the Patriots released him.
Yeah. I remember him in the draft. I wanted them to draft him in the draft, actually.
By the way, the Buffalo Bills, Marcel Darius, missed the last year. He missed the first game because of drugs.
Yeah.
He's going to miss the first 4 this year.
Yeah.
Drugs. Boy, oh boy. How dumb can guys be?
Yeah.
Well, we're getting the sign that we've overstayed our visit here.
Which happens.
Next time, it'll be the Red Sox and the Patriots.
Okay.
Yeah. In fact, maybe next time we better start off with the Patriots.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then there'll be all kinds of Red Sox stories. And, yeah, we don't know what to do.
We'll let...
Chips fall where they may.
Yes.
Very good. Well, folks, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something or whatever. But
it was fun.
Yeah, enjoyed the rest of the summer. We'll see you with the football special next time.
Okay.
Fearless predictions.
There you go.
All right. Good night.